You know that most of the English you learned in textbooks is basically useless in the real world? Seriously, if you walk up to an American and start dropping textbook phrases, they might look at you like you just time traveled from 1950. You don't want to sound like a robot. You want to sound real, right? So today we are tossing the textbooks straight in the trash. I'm going to give you 11 everyday real-life English phrases that locals actually use when they're just living their lives. And by the end of this, you're going to sound completely natural. If you really want to learn English through everyday conversations, you have to look at what people actually say when they are doing normal, everyday things. You know, stuff like cleaning the house, working from home, or just surviving the day. People don't talk like Shakespeare when they are doing their laundry. They use casual, simple, but highly specific phrases. And honestly, if your goal is to use advanced English vocabulary to sound like a native speaker, the secret isn't learning big, complicated words. The secret is learning exactly how we combine simple words in everyday life. So let's jump right into the first phrase to completely boost your fluency. The first phrase is a labor of love. Now, the word labor just means work. But when we say something is a labor of love, we mean it's a project or a task that is super hard, takes a ton of time, and honestly, you aren't doing it for money or for fame. You are doing it simply because you care. For example, maybe you have a friend who spent 3 days baking an incredibly complicated, multi-layer birthday cake from scratch for someone they care about. That is a labor of love. Or maybe you have a family member who knitted a huge, chunky blanket. Knitting takes forever, right? But they do it to give it to someone special. They did it as a labor of love. You can even use it for something like this right now. I put so much effort into creating these lessons for you, finding the best phrases, and breaking them down. It takes a lot of time, but it is totally a labor of love because I genuinely love helping you guys reach your goals. The second phrase you need in your daily vocabulary is to dread something. Honestly, this is such a relatable millennial and Gen Z vibe because there are so many things we just absolutely dread. To dread something means you are totally not looking forward to it. In fact, you are avoiding it at all costs because it gives you anxiety or it's just really annoying. Think about making a phone call to schedule a doctor's appointment. Why is that so hard? I don't know, but I always dread it. I will literally stare at my phone for 10 minutes dreading the call. But then, have you ever noticed that once you finally do the thing you were dreading, you feel amazing? Like a massive weight has been lifted off your shoulders. I feel the exact same way about doing household chores, especially changing the sheets on my bed. I hate stripping the bed and putting clean sheets back on. I always dread it. But then when it's done, I feel so good. So next time you have a task you really don't want to do, you can say, I am so dreading this. Moving on to the third phrase, which is thrifty. This is a really great word to practice your English pronunciation, specifically that tricky TH and R combination. Thrifty. Put your tongue between your teeth for the TH, blow out a little air, and pull it right back for the R. Thrifty. Being thrifty is a really positive trait, especially right now. It means you are smart with your money. You try to save where you can, and you like to repair things instead of just throwing them in the trash and buying new ones. Going to thrift stores to buy vintage clothes instead of fast fashion? That is being thrifty. Sewing a small hole in your favorite pair of sweatpants instead of buying a new pair? That is super thrifty. A lot of us are trying to be more thrifty these days by meal prepping our lunches instead of spending $20 on a salad or a sandwich every single day at work. If you plan your meals, you are being thrifty, and your bank account will definitely thank you. Our fourth phrase is a little specific but incredibly necessary for our modern lifestyle. The phrase is lumbar support. What does lumbar mean? It refers to your lower back. Let's be real, so many of us work from home now. We sit at desks all day staring at screens, or we are just hunched over our phones scrolling for hours. We live very sedentary lives, meaning we don't move around as much as we probably should. Because of that, everyone's back always hurts. So lumbar support is huge. If you are shopping for a new office chair, the biggest selling point is usually whether or not it has good lumbar support. Or maybe when you sleep, you need to put a pillow behind your lower back or between your knees for extra lumbar support. It helps your posture and keeps you from waking up feeling super stiff. So next time you are complaining about back pain with your friends, you can casually mention that you need a new chair with better lumbar support. Phrase number 5 is a phrasal verb, and it is to throw on something. We use this all the time, especially when talking about clothes or blankets. It means to put something on very quickly, without putting much thought or care into it. Let's say it's early in the morning, you just woke up, and you realize you need to walk the dog or run to the drive-thru to grab a coffee. You are not going to stand in front of your mirror planning a high-fashion outfit. You are just going to grab a hoodie and some sweatpants and throw them on. You could say, I'm just gonna throw on a jacket and head outside. It gives the sense that it's casual, quick, and a little messy. You can also use it for making your bed. If you don't care about having a perfectly styled bedroom that looks like a fancy hotel, you might just grab your blanket and throw it on the bed. You aren't taking the time to make it look perfect. You literally just throw it on. Phrase number 6 is another one you will use constantly, and it is to tuck it in. When you tuck something in, you are taking the edge of a piece of fabric and pushing it down into a space to secure it. The most common way you hear this is with clothes. If you are going to a nice dinner or a job interview, you probably need to tuck in your shirt into your pants or your skirt. Or maybe you do that stylish little front tuck that everyone loves doing with oversized sweaters. You just tuck in the front. We also use this phrase a lot when making the bed. If you don't want your blankets falling off in the middle of the night, you have to tuck in the sheets under the mattress. You push the fabric down securely. You can even use this for people. If you have kids or younger siblings at night, you tuck them in. That means you pull the blankets up to their chin and make them feel cozy and secure before they go to sleep. The 7th phrase to boost your everyday fluency is to figure out something. This is a phrasal verb that means to solve a problem or to understand something that is a little confusing at first. Let's talk about the absolute worst part of making a bed, the fitted sheet. You know the sheet with the elastic around the edges? It is literally a nightmare. Every single time I wash it, I have to figure out which side is the long side and which side is the short side. I always get it wrong on the first try. I have to figure it out. But you can use this for any problem in life. Maybe you are having an issue with your computer. You might say, give me a second. I need to figure out why my Wi-Fi isn't working. Or maybe it's something bigger, like, I really need to figure out what I want to do with my career. It's just a very natural way of saying you are trying to find the answer. Phrase number 8 is a really fun one. It is being a stickler for something. Make sure you don't forget the L in the middle of the word. Stickler. A stickler is someone who cares a lot about the rules, details, or having things done a very specific, perfect way. Honestly, I am not a stickler for having matching sheets and pillowcases on my bed. If the sheet is gray and the pillowcase is blue, I do not care at all. It doesn't bother me. I am not a stickler for matching bedding. But maybe you have a roommate who is a major stickler for a clean kitchen. If you leave even one dirty coffee mug in the sink, they get super annoyed because they are a stickler for cleanliness. Or maybe at your job, your boss is a stickler for being on time. If you are 2 minutes late, they notice. What about you? Are there certain details in your life that you are a total stickler for? Our 9th phrase is another classic phrasal verb, and it is to put it off. To put something off means to delay it. To procrastinate. It goes hand in hand with dreading something. Because I completely dread changing my bed sheets, I always put it off. I'll tell myself on a Saturday morning, okay, today is the day I wash the sheets. But then the afternoon comes, and I say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Then Sunday night hits, and I say, whatever, I'll just do it next weekend. I put it off. Notice how natural it sounds when we stick the word, it, right in the middle. Put it off. And here is a huge tip for sounding perfectly natural in American English. When you say put it off, the T sounds at the end of put, and it actually change into soft D sounds because they are sandwiched between vowels. So instead of saying put it off like a robot, you blend it all together. Put it off. Try saying that out loud. Put it off. I always put it off. Practicing those blended sounds is exactly how you start sounding totally natural. The 10th phrase is every now and then. This is just a much cooler, more natural way to say sometimes or occasionally. Going back to making the bed, I know some people wash their sheets every single week without fail. I am not one of those people. I change my sheets every now and then. Whenever I feel like it, or whenever they start looking a little messy. You can use every now and then for almost anything in your routine. That isn't a strict habit. For example, normally I drink coffee at home to save money and be thrifty. But every now and then, I will treat myself to an expensive iced matcha latte from the cafe down the street. It's not an everyday thing, just every now and then. And finally, our bonus phrase, number 11, is the word even. We use this word in tons of different ways, but right now we are talking about using it to mean fair, balanced, or level. Let's say you are sharing a bed with someone. You want to make sure the blankets are distributed evenly. You want an even amount of blanket on both sides. You do not want to wake up freezing because the other person stole all the covers. You want it to be even. Another great example is cutting a pizza. If you are sharing a pizza with a group of hungry friends, you better make sure those slices are even. If you cut one huge slice and one tiny slice, people are going to fight over the big one. You have to cut the pizza evenly so that everyone gets a fair amount. It just means everything is balanced and the same. You just learned 11 completely real, highly useful English phrases that you can start using today. Using phrases like these is what takes your English from textbook mode to real-life conversational mode. Practice them, speak them out loud, use the connected sounds we talked about, and don't be a stickler if you make a mistake every now and then. Making mistakes is exactly how we figure out how to improve. I know learning a language can feel like a labor of love, and sometimes you might dread studying and try to put it off, but I promise if you keep showing up, it becomes so much easier. Thank you so much for hanging out and learning with me today. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep upgrading your everyday English, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a lesson. I absolutely love reading your comments, so drop one below using your favorite phrase from today's video. Keep practicing, stay awesome, and thank you for watching Learn English with Jennifer. I'll catch you in the next one.